the basics of creating your LinkedIn profile. There are 7 things that are considered when you have a profile that make your profile considered complete. And as you're completing your LinkedIn profile, LinkedIn will let you know that, okay, you've reached the midpoint, and then they have like a 5 stars. So once your profile is complete, you get the 5 stars. So it's your headline, your photo, your about section, your experience in education, recommendations, skills and endorsements, as well as connections. So we'll spend a couple of minutes looking at each and every one of those aspects. Starting off with your headline. So your headline is one of the first things that people see on your profile. Your headline is literally what comes right under your name. If you see right here, the example, we have Sean Job Seeker. What is right under this person's name is the headline. And so there are different ways that you can present your headline. I'm going to show you 3 strategies right now, but there are so many other ways that you can present your headline. The most important thing that you want to keep in mind when it comes to your headline is that you want to ensure that it is keyword rich. As much as your LinkedIn profile is a social media platform, people go there to interact, to build relationships. LinkedIn is also a search engine. Recruiters are using it to search for people. Hiring managers are using it to search for people, as well as colleagues in your industry are also using LinkedIn to search for other colleagues. So it's very important that your profile, especially your headline, be keyword rich. And what do I mean by that is that the words that relate to the work that you do need to be stated in your headline. And this goes beyond your job title. So we had this example, we just looked at human resource manager. So that's wonderful because the title of their job already has some keywords, human resource, in it. But sometimes your job title doesn't necessarily provide the keywords that people would use to search you for. So it's quite important to take the time to look at different job posters, do your research, look at other people in your industry, get inspiration from them to be able to know what are the important keywords in my industry. For example, if you are in project management and you're looking for a job in that area, for sure you want those headlines to be in your profile. If you are a social media manager, you want social media management to be in your headline. You will maybe want something like influencer marketing to be in your headline, even though that's not your job title. So in this example of a headline, what this person did, they're keeping it simple. What they did is they're just providing a bit of who they are and what they do, and then they're including some keywords. So they said cycling team spokesperson, and then they said public relations, crisis communication, and media relations. So this is an easy way to do it, a short description of what you do, followed by some keywords. If you don't take the time to actually create your own headline, the default on LinkedIn is simply your job title and the name of your company, which sometimes is not the most effective way to be found on LinkedIn. Another strategy for your headline is what you do followed by keywords. So this person manages public relations, and then they do marketing, social media, media relations for Team Cycle Pro Sports. So they've stated what they do, and then they've added some headlines, some keywords right in the headline. And then another example is why you, and talks about the benefit to others. So they went with, they secure sponsors support and fan attention for international professional cycling teams. So this is really like, if a company is looking at your profile, they're interested in hiring you, this headline would be the one that speaks to why you over the competition and the benefit that you have to offer others. So those are 3 examples. There's so many more. People are also very creative in coming up with different ways to present their headline. The most important thing that you want to keep in mind is that it's keyword rich and it helps people find you for what you want to be found. The next thing is your photo. So your photo on your profile should look like you. I know I've worked with many professionals over the pandemic, and the way they used to look working in the office is not how they look right now. So just make sure that your profile picture looks like you, so people recognize you. That it's something professional, a plain background, that it shows your head, shoulders, just a regular headshot. You don't need to get it professionally done, but it does need to look professional. And then, looking approachable. So smiling is also a great way to make sure you're approachable in your picture. There are different websites that you can use. One is photofeeler.com. If you're not sure what profile picture you want to use, a website like that is one where you can put different options of pictures, and people will rate them for you to let you know which one is more likable or which one is more approachable. And I've seen as well, people just do that straight up on LinkedIn. I just went and took new pictures. Can you help me decide which one should be my profile picture? And you ask people which one they prefer. So there's different ways of doing that. So the next one is your about section. This is another very important section of your profile. Your about section is essentially the summary. It's really the meat of what you have to offer. And so you want to make sure that it's catching the attention of the person who's coming to your profile. If they went on your profile and they made it to the about section, it means that they have an interest in what you offer and what you do. They've looked at your headline, they've looked at your banner at the top. Having a banner is very important. It's not one of the basic parts of a LinkedIn profile, but in most of the reviews I did for you, I did encourage you to include a banner if you did not have one. So now a person gets to your about section. You want to make sure in the about section that you are capturing their attention early. The reason for this is in your about section, only the 3 to 4 first lines will show up. If a person wants to read more, they have to actually click read more. So your goal is to make it interesting enough so that a person, when they come on your profile, they read those first 2 or 3 lines and they're like, oh, I want to read more and find out more about this person. So those first few lines, you want to draw attention to issues, challenges, problems faced by your prospective employer. So you could talk easily about your value proposition, because your value proposition is based on what the employer is looking for and what you have to offer. So stating your value proposition is a great way to do this in your about section. And then the following sections will talk about the value that you have to offer. In these sections, you want to quantify your accomplishments. And in terms of how to write it, a bullet form is very good because it's easier to read. People digest it a lot quicker than a full on paragraph. So I would encourage you to go with that bullet form for your about section. And in the last paragraph at the end, you want to include a call to action. So they came to your profile, they saw all these amazing things about you. What do you want them to do after? So in your last paragraph, you can say something like, you can connect with me here on LinkedIn, you can send me a message here on LinkedIn, or you can send me an email at this email address if you're comfortable putting your email address there. So you always want to include a call to action. What do you want them to do now that they came to your profile? After that, we have the experience and education. So for your experience and education, you don't want your LinkedIn profile to be a copy and paste of your resume. It's really important that you stick to what is relevant, that you keep it, easy for people to digest. So stick to what is relevant, and you can speak in the first person, and this is actually recommended. So a great way to do it is a short paragraph to describe what you did in that role, and then get into accomplishments. Bullet form is great as well here. So get straight into accomplishments of what you were able to do, because that's really what a company wants to know. They don't want a long list of all the responsibilities that you've held in your previous role. They want to know what you can do for them. And so when you're creating your experience and education sections, well, education may be a little less because your education is what it is, but at least for your experience section, take the time to think of the audience. A company wants to hire you. What do they want to know? They want to know, are you going to be able to solve their problem? And so that's how you want to frame your experience section in your LinkedIn profile. The following section is the skills and endorsements. So skills and endorsements is very important to your LinkedIn profile. You can select up to 50 skills on your profile, and only the top 3 will show up in your profile. So you do want to make sure that those top 3 skills that show up first are the ones that are the most relevant to the industry that you're in and to the work that you do. And another thing is you want to make sure that the skills that you're selecting for your profile align with what a potential employer is looking for. For example, when companies create job posters, they usually select 10 top skills that they identify in the job poster. And so your goal is to ensure that there's alignment between those 10 top skills that employers are looking for and your profile. And so it's quite important to do your research. Once again, looking at job posters, identifying what are those keywords, but also being a professional in that industry, you often know what are the keywords or what are the most important skills that are relevant to my industry. And those you want to make sure that they are found in your skills section on your profile. So recommendations are also very important. Recommendations are basically social proof. This is, someone you've worked with, someone who has taught you, a professor, or, someone who's interacted with you, who's literally saying, yes, I am vouching for Lisa. Lisa did do this. She did a great job at this, and I'm here vouching for her. And someone can just click on this person's profile and look and see who this person is, and they'll see it's a legit person. So recommendations are very, very important. As well, when we looked at the skills section, there's also endorsements. So for example, I said a skill I have is public speaking. So there's 25 people here who have endorsed me and said, yes, she does have public speaking skills. So that's another aspect of your profile that is quite important for social proofing. And the last thing when it comes to making sure your profile is complete is connections. So to have a profile to be considered complete by LinkedIn standards, you need at least 50 connections. So making sure you have connections, often starting off with people that you know and then growing from there. One tip I will add for your LinkedIn profile is just to make sure that you've personalized your LinkedIn URL. So how do you personalize your LinkedIn URL? I have the step-by-step right here in the slide. So firstly, you just go to the top of your profile and you edit profile information and public profile, and then you would then go to step 3, that is right here when you edit the profile URL, and then your custom URL, usually first name, last name is more than enough. If you don't personalize your LinkedIn profile, you will end up with a profile that has just your name and a bunch of numbers. It doesn't look very professional on your resume, and it also is not as professional when you're sharing your profile information on other platforms other than LinkedIn.